We're going to talk today about getting your hormones tested. And most of you are probably here because you've either had your hormones tested or have some interest in that. It doesn't take very long on Google to find a whole list of hormones, if you're looking for them, that are related or can be related to hormone imbalance. And we're not going to get into too many of the specifics of that, but we want to talk about what's the best way to test your hormones. And we've built a test that's built specifically for that. And the first thing we want to talk about is just the need for a comprehensive analysis. So, oftentimes you'll have a symptom, let's say, maybe you're talking about weight gain, and so maybe you think it's related to estrogen. I have too much estrogen, and that's why I can't lose weight. But it could also be related to your stress hormones like cortisol. Could be related to testosterone. If you're having issue with decreased sex drive or problems on that front, that could be a cortisol issue. That can be an estrogen issue. That can also be, of course, a testosterone issue. So we've got a lot of these symptoms. You can see just looking at these lists. There are a lot of things that and these are not comprehensive lists. But you can see that a lot of these find themselves on multiple lists, and so it's an issue of even something classically related to things like estrogen, like a hot flash, is also related to cortisol. If you have high cortisol because you're stressed, that's your stress hormone, then that can be related. And so if you want to test your hormones, we need to start at least with a fairly comprehensive analysis of your stress or cortisol type hormones. And we want to look at your male hormones, so to speak, like testosterone, and that's an issue for both men and women, and estrogen. Too much estrogen can be an issue for men. It can be an issue for women. So we want to look at all three of these. And classically what's been available is a serum test, a saliva test, or a 24-hour urine test. And when you're really looking through these options and you want a comprehensive analysis, you can test your basic adrenal hormones in serum, in saliva, or in urine. You can test your sex hormones, again, testosterone, estrogen, those types of things. In any of these, we could get into lengthy discussions about which of these is the best to test these, but the point we want to make today is even if you're testing these in the best of the three, whatever's available, it's still not quite enough, because if you're looking at adrenal hormones, you want to look at your daily pattern of cortisol. So cortisol, your stress hormone, it's high in the morning and then it's low at night, and it changes by about a tenfold swing, or it should, and if yours doesn't, then that can really contribute to a lot of these issues. But there's really no way, or hasn't been any way, to test that except in saliva. But if you test in saliva, you can be really misled, because you also need to look at cortisol metabolites, and that's only been available in urine testing. Now, when you're looking at sex hormones, you also want to look at metabolites, because it can really give you extra information to make better decisions as to what you want to do, and that's been available in urine, a little bit in serum, but really people are usually testing those in urine. So you can see that any one of these tests that you pick is going to have some deficiencies. So what we did with our testing is we tried to build something that can hit each of these points and do it well, and to have a test that's really easy to do. So best way to test: multiple spot urine samples. So instead of a 24-hour collection, we're collecting the urine samples at very specific times, and it's really easy to do. It's probably the easiest collection available for hormones, but it still represents more than half the day, and that's really important. When you go get your blood drawn, they stick that needle in, and 10 seconds later they're done. So whatever your hormones are during those 10 seconds is how you're going to register, and some of these hormones really change throughout the day because they're released in pulses. And so it's better to have a test, and that's been one of the main advantages of a 24-hour urine, is it represents a lot more time, and this is a really good way to do that without having to collect, in the big urine jug all day. But it's still a really comprehensive overview of sex hormones and adrenal hormones, and that's really what we want to see in a lab test. So with this test, you get those adrenal hormones, you get this daily or diurnal, as it's called, cortisol pattern, but then you also get the cortisol metabolites. You need all of those pieces to really see what's going on in your adrenal hormones when you're looking at issues related to fatigue and some of these things. You really need to see that, as well as the sex hormones and their metabolites. And the collection for this, because of the nature of how it's done, is really easy. And we've taken that even a step further. Instead of collecting just a spot urine sample, we're collecting dried urine samples. So these urine collection devices have a handle on the top, and then on the bottom you can see the filter paper. So you either urinate directly on that filter paper or just into a clean plastic or paper cup and then dip them. The handle is then hung up with a label, and those are just left to hang overnight to dry in your bathroom, as you can see here, on a towel rack or a counter edge or whatever. And then those 4 samples are sent back to the lab for the analysis. So you're collecting one of those around dinner time, one around bedtime, right when you wake up in the morning, and then one 2 hours later, and you're done. You don't have to go get your blood drawn. You don't have to collect, a whole jug of urine for the day. It's really pretty simple, an easy way to go. Not to get into too much nerdery here, but the values from the dried samples are exactly the same as we see in the liquid urine samples. So you can see here, the dried urine value here versus the liquid urine, and as you're testing there, you're getting really nice correlation between the two, so it works very well. It's very accurate. So we think that's really the ideal way to test, whether you're taking hormones or whether you're just looking at, seeing what's going on in terms of a particular hormone imbalance. It's a really nice way to test. So take action, get tested. We want to also include with that, though, a consultation, because the testing that we're offering is relatively complex. So to arm a lay person with those results is not really the way we want to go. So what we're doing is we're now offering with our test a consultation with not just any provider, but a provider that has a lot of experience using these tests, so they can help you hone in on what issues you might want to pursue with your healthcare provider. And I think that's really important when you're looking at, again, a complex issue related to hormones. So we have world-class physicians that will offer a consultation with our testing, and it's free when you use our comprehensive hormone profile. So if you just go to our website, precisionhormones.com, and you go to the online store, and then you can look at ordering either the smaller panel, so the advanced adrenal assessment is just your adrenal hormones, and then the hormone metabolite assessment is your testosterone, estrogen, all those sex hormones, progesterone. And then basically the comprehensive hormone profile is just these two in combination. And so you can see this is a really good deal to be able to get all of those hormones, as well as, again, a consultation with an expert in this area to help you understand what the results mean, and then you can take and pursue that with your healthcare provider, or even becoming a actual patient of one of the physicians that we're contracting with. And so we really feel like with the simple collection and the comprehensive analysis, it really is simply better testing. And if you're interested in that, feel free to peruse our website at precisionhormones.com. If you have any questions on the test, feel free to email us at info@precisionhormones.com.